Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. The money lead now. It is a mad dash for control of the U.S. Senate. The midterms are looming, and right now, every dollar counts. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid came to the floor of the Senate today to rant once again against the Supreme Court's recent decision striking down overall contribution limits to political campaigns. And that's when the senator from Nevada suddenly started singing a populist fight song that may not really be completely on pitch with reality.
The decisions by the Supreme Court have left people with a status quo in which one side's billionaires are pitted against the other side's billionaires. Except one side doesn't have many billionaires.
One side doesn't have many billionaires. The left doesn't have many billionaire backers. Oh, really? Well, you could name George Soros, David Shaw, Irwin Jacobs, just to name a few. Let's not forget, of course, Tom Steyer. You know, Tom Steyer. So just who is Tom Steyer?
Hi, I'm Tom Steyer.
There's a guy right here. His name is Tom Steyer. He's going to put $100 million into the legislative process to try to resurrect global warming as an issue.
I don't know Tom Steyer from a bar of soap.
Steyer's a hedge fund billionaire, bursting onto the political scene on behalf of environmental causes.
We need to hold these candidates accountable for being against science and be loud about the fact that if they don't believe climate change is real, we can't trust them.
He's focusing on at least 7 states that could decide which party controls the Senate and key state houses after November.
I'm grateful.
Last year, Ken Cuccinelli, Virginia's Republican candidate for governor, was defeated in a very close race. Steyer spent nearly $8 million helping Cuccinelli lose.
Climate change is an important issue. We should all be proud of the work we've done to keep climate change denier Ken Cuccinelli out of the governor's mansion.
Hey, Obama, we don't want no climate drama.
Steyer is also funding efforts to derail the controversial Keystone Pipeline.
Climate justice.
Now, all of this has Republicans crying hypocrisy, noting that Democrats have practically put the Republican-aiding billionaire Koch brothers on the ballot, decrying the Koch's influence on elections while remaining silent about their own big money donors. Groups advocating campaign finance reform.
Our democracy is not supposed to be the sport of kings or a game for millionaires and billionaires on either side of the aisle to spend as much money as they want on politics, buying government decisions and buying access and influence.
Tom Steyer advisor Chris Lehane.
The United States Supreme Court has dramatically changed how campaigns work by allowing all this outside money to come in. I mean, Tom would be the first to say the laws that the Supreme Court have said and have articulated are not good for our democracy, but it's the reality that we're in. The other option is to at least have someone out there who is trying to balance that playing field, to provide some resources for the other side.
Another point of dispute involves Steyer's assets.
The Keystone Pipeline is not a good investment.
Steyer made his money as the manager of a $20 billion hedge fund, amassing a fortune through a variety of investments, including many in the very fossil fuels he now decries.
He made most of his fortune in foreign coal investments, the very energy one of the energy sources he now says he wants to get rid of. I think a lot of Americans will see it as hypocrisy and as political opportunism from Mr. Steyer.
Steyer says it was those investments that led him to his most recent cause.
I need to square what I believe is right with what I was doing in my own life.
So not only did he recognize it was not right, he decided to step down from the business that he had helped create, a fund that he was doing exceptionally well in, and decided to leave and dedicate and donate the money that he has made to really fighting this.
Though Steyer divested 2 years ago from some of what he calls the dirtier fuels, coal and tar sands, his portfolio is, as of today, still not free of these investments. In other words, Steyer has continued to make money off these unclean energies while simultaneously decrying them.
Does this pipeline help us, or does it help narrow interests?
But this month, his advisors say, all of those fossil fuel investments will end.
By the end of this month, we'll have become fully divested from fossil fuel companies. People who know economics, know finance, know what divestment means, would understand and recognize that that meant that an awful lot of money was left on the table.
And an awful lot of money spent to defeat politicians he sees as insufficiently committed to the cause. Steyer has thrown lavish fundraisers for President Obama, Vice President Biden, Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, and House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. He also spoke at the 2012 Democratic National Convention.
So let's embrace a vision of a clean, healthy planet, the one that God gave us, and not a scorched earth that can't sustain future generations.
His admirers argue that this is a guy who's fighting for the environment at his own expense, both because of investments he gave up or is about to give up and campaign cash he's willing to spend.
Investment is about analysis and timing.
With Steyer's $100 million on the table this election cycle, Senate Democrats, perhaps eager to have their names in his checkbook ledger, held an all-night session earlier this year to highlight his pet issue.
Melted down to this little puddle.
Republicans pointed out the obvious.
Senate Democrats are just trying to please the left coast billionaire who plans to finance so many of their campaigns.
Cynicism and criticism notwithstanding, Steyer sees combating climate change as good policy as well as good politics.
Giving away millions and millions and millions of dollars to try to impact our political systems so that we avoid the disaster of climate change, I think speaks an awful lot to this person's character.
And the lead will continue to follow the money as the midterm elections approach. You can see our previous reporting on the conservative Koch brothers on our webpage, cnn.com/thelead.